Words really do have power and poison, and we'll be exploring both of those at the throat chakra as Venus makes her moon gate on the 5th of December, just in the very small hours of the morning. Let me explain a little bit about what the Venus moon gate actually is. Venus is ascending as the evening star. This is a particular portion of her cycle. And as she ascends, she makes 7 meetings with the moon. That is, the moon and Venus are at exactly the same point and sign of the zodiac. And they appear together in the sky, the very tiny, tiny, thin crescent new moon with Venus close by. And this happens, as I've said, 7 times. And this relates to the 7 chakras. And so we have done videos for the first 4. Please check those out if you've missed them. And we now arrive at the throat chakra. This will give us an entire month individually to explore, meditate, work with the concerns connected with our own throat chakras, and more about what those are in a minute. So those amongst us who resonate with the divine feminine will appreciate how powerful it is to have 2 goddesses, both the moon and Venus together. They are at 27 degrees in the sign of Capricorn. But in this moon gate, they're not alone. It is actually a triple goddess moon gate, because just 2 degrees away at 29 of Capricorn, we have the goddess Ceres. And close by her, inched very minutely into Aquarius, is Pluto. So this is an incredibly powerful build-up moon gate of this triple goddess energy. The throat chakra is found, yes, at the throat. Its Sanskrit name is Vishuddha chakra, and not surprisingly, it's associated with speech, communication, speaking, all of those things to do with the voice and the throat. No surprise, it's ruled by Mercury, which is also about communication. Now, Mercury, is assigned as a masculine planet, but I think more accurately, it's probably androgynous in its real energies. The musical note that goes with this chakra is the note of G, and the colour associated with it is a bright, beautiful sky blue. And of course, you can engage with the chakra through many, many means. It may be through your own meditation, it may be through yoga, Tai Chi, through breathing exercises, simply by thinking about the chakra, through colour, through sound, using singing bowls. Any way which is good for you, it works really well here. Now, I just mentioned, didn't I, that Mercury is the planet associated with the throat chakra. And that's incredibly fitting at this moon gate, because Mercury is really playing a key role here. Mercury is now retrograde, going back, revising, revisiting, reviewing things, and it has a significant role to play. It is conjunct right by the Sun, which is in Sagittarius. And these are opposing Jupiter, which is in Gemini, the sign ruled by Mercury. So the message we're getting from this Sun, Mercury, Jupiter opposition is all about words, communication, and the need to go back and look at this again. I shall follow this video up with a short little video which tells a very personal story of my own. about how the throat chakra can become blocked. It may be of interest to you, and if it is, then you can watch it after this video. But I didn't want to insert something personal here just at this point. Instead, I'd like to look at the general picture of the words and communications that are happening at the moment in our world. It's a very, very noisy world. And there's much in the way of communication which we really need to take a look at. I'd like to quote for you here the Dalai Lama. The Dalai Lama was once asked about his thoughts on vegetarianism, and he replied by saying that he thought it was much more important what came out of a mouth than what went in it. And I think that's something that we can address here, and something that Venus, the Moon, and Ceres and Pluto are asking us to look at. So, what is current in our society to do with words which need some looking at? Well, let's just float a few ideas here. We have vicious verbal attacks on people. We have trolling. We have slander. We have misinformation. We have downright lies. We have reality TV shows that delight in humiliating people verbally. I believe that words themselves contain power. And yes, I believe they can contain poison. Words resonate within us. They can worm their way into our minds, worm their way into our psyche, undermine us, unpin us, do us endless harm. They really have the power of spells. And when we speak, we should be considering, are we spewing poison? Is this the verbal equivalent of an acid attack that we're undertaking here? What energy are we putting out into the world? And let's make no mistake, what we put out will be returning to us threefold at least, some say tenfold. In the sign of Capricorn, Venus and the Moon are serious. They're calling us to have integrity. They're calling us to speak with our true authority. They're also calling us to speak with authenticity and with discipline. And that means not simply spewing out and expressing the first nasty thing that we may be thinking of. Pluto, who is very close to Ceres and to our Moon and Venus, is a very purging energy. And I think it gives us a gift here that this is a time when we can purge from our own words those gratuitous things that have no place there. We are called to express our truth, but we're also called to express it with kindness and love, not with viciousness. It's essential that we speak our truth. It's essential for our health, for our spiritual welfare, and for the world that we speak our truth. But that doesn't mean that we have a license to wound. And I think as a society, we have really fallen into the pits on this one. I think it's a woeful reflection of us. And I think this is an opportunity for us personally to think, well, I won't listen to gossip. I won't speak idle gossip. I won't repeat negative points just because I'm in the company of people who've put them forward. I won't agree with those things that I know do not reflect my view, are not true to me. All of those points are important. Pluto, of course, will always be looking at the seamy side, will always be looking at that which needs to be evacuated, that which needs to go, that which we no longer need and which we must purge. And the Moon and Venus will be calling us to temper our emotions and values, to be thinking about what really matters to us in an authentic way, and to speak with our own authority, but with discipline and with regard for what we're doing, with responsibility, which is a key Capricornian word. But I'd like to come in here about Ceres, because I think she is asking us here to speak for the earth, to speak on its behalf in a way, to speak for nature. Nature and the earth do speak. The earth speaks to us in the beauty and abundance it pours forth all the time, despite our worst efforts to harm it. But when nature becomes unbalanced, what is its voice? Its voice is hurricane, earthquake, flood, fire. The elements will speak to us. Let's be aware of that. Let's be aware of pushing the earth to this point where things are so unbalanced that is how it speaks, through earthquake, fire, hurricane, storm. Those are the voices of the earth. One of the really lovely ways to contemplate the Venus moon gate is if you're lucky enough to be able to see the meeting of the moon and Venus in the night sky. So sunset is getting earlier and earlier as we plummet towards the winter solstice. And so Venus and the moon will be visible a little higher on the horizon than they have been, and should be visible just around sunset, and perhaps until as late as maybe 6:45 in the UK. I'm not quite sure how that will translate into the States. But certainly here in the UK, that's the kind of timings when we might be lucky enough to spot Venus and the moon. I think nothing is as moving or beautiful as the actual sight of the two of them together. Of course, we cannot see Ceres, but we know that this is a triple goddess event. So some of my words here have been serious, and I've not touched on blockages to communication and to the throat chakra. But if you tune in to the next little video, which will only be quite short, then I'll be addressing that a little bit. So thank you for staying with me. Enjoy the Venus moon gate, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you.